Okay, folks, let's get into this. This is Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 15, my God, Episode 7. This is called, what is this episode called? This is, wait, did they not put the title? Oh, it's called, you guys, wait, did they not put a title on this? I hate when DirecTV screws this up. One sec. Okay, it's called Headlines and Heartbreaks. I had to go search that information elsewhere because DirecTV didn't have it on the app, and they don't have a description for this episode. It just says, affluent women enjoy their Beverly Hills lifestyle. That could legitimately be anybody in Beverly Hills, but that's about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Ladies. So this episode, I think, is slightly better. I mean, the relationships are starting to form. Rachel Zoe, like we've said, just fits in so easily. I mean, Kyle's still Kyle's still thirsting over Mauricio. We see a couple, two scenes with Mauricio tonight. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. Like, it's better than the previous episodes this season. But for me personally, the other thing too, I was watching Watch What Happens Live tonight, and it had Kathy Hilton, Kyle Richards, and Paris Hilton. And it was funny. I mean, Paris did her whole flighty act, and they were promoting tons of Paris's fragrance, and I don't know, there were so many products that she was promoting. But you just get the sense of, like, Kyle's been on this show 15 years. Paris Hilton has been in the public eye forever. Kathy Hilton has been famous for a long time too. And I compared that with, I was listening to Radio Andy on Sirius, Radio Andy's, Andy Cohen's radio show today. And he had Alex McCord as a guest. Yeah. Alex McCord from Simon and Alex from Real Housewives of New York, OG Roni, and she lives in Australia now, and she's got her, she's a clinical therapist, I believe. I mean, she sounded so refreshing, and it's like, maybe she's not making millions and millions and millions of dollars every year. But I thought there was something so refreshing because when I heard her on the radio show, I sensed a real person talking. And I don't mean that Kyle and Kathy and Paris are just completely fake, but it's just a sort of reality that I am not familiar with. And it seems like it'd be a fun place to visit, but it wouldn't be fun to be that. And I think that's the difference sometimes with how we used to see, not we, but how I used to view celebrities as aspirational. And now it just seems like, God, it just seems like so much baggage. And the listening to Alex, it was so refreshing. It was like, here's a normal person, and she was talking about her two goofy kids and how proud of them she is. And it just struck me as real. And that's the thing, is that reality is supposed to, show us some form of reality. Now, the Housewives have always been, an it's elevated. There's a silliness that goes with Housewives. But I don't think that means that it should just be able to escape us wanting it to show some form of reality or to actually mean something. And I think we always have to be reminded of that, is that, these shows at their best, they can do both. They can be hysterically funny, and they can also mean something. And at times I'm struggling with finding the meaning in Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I mean, I can go there. I can go like, yeah, it's sad with Kyle and Mauricio. And yes, Kyle longing for Mauricio and what they had built and being wistful for that. I have empathy for that. But it's also still like, yes, you don't have that anymore, but instead you have all of this wealth and you have all of this fame. And at the same time, you're just like, yeah, but that doesn't really mean anything at the end of the day. I know that sounds so depressing. I mean, I'm sorry. I want to be silly and fun here, but that's like the vibe I've been getting from this show. It's just like, yes, we have all these baubles. We have all of this. We have such expensive taste. And it's so fun to see fancy cars and purses and jewelry and dresses. But, I want some substance sometimes. I don't know. That's just me. But my God, it was so fun to hear Alex McCord. She's here in town filming in New York. She's going to be a part of Ultimate Girls Trip, that road trip. She's going to be a part of the finale, which is so exciting. I'm so sad that Simon isn't with her. Man, Simon Van Kempen, that is a reality star for the ages. She revealed that, those red leather pants that Simon wore, the legendary red leather pants. Her son has them now, and Andy was like, "I would pay a pretty penny to get those in the clubhouse." Yeah, man, let's put one of it. Let's put one of her kids through grad school. Sell those red leather pants to Andy. By the way, that's if I was rich, that's the kind of shit I'd blow my money on, and that's why I'm not rich. I'd be like, I'll pay top dollar for Simon Van Kempen's red leather pants. Like that would be a no-brainer for me. I've told you this before. I'd buy that. I'd buy there was a music video of Lionel Richie in the 80s. It was called Hello, is it me you're looking for? And I believe the video was a blind girl. And I think Lionel Richie was her teacher or something, or her lover and teacher, and she could only feel his face. And at the end, she had made like a clay bust of Lionel Richie's head. And I was a kid, but for some reason, it seared into my memory. And I just remember thinking like someday I'd love to own that bust of Lionel Richie's head. Like I can go look it up. Go look up Lionel Richie's clay head from the music video Hello. I was like, that's the kind of shit I'd buy. I hands down. Don't tell Rebecca this. She already worries about me like buying DVDs and stuff. So just let's keep that. And she knows I'm weird already, but let's just keep that stuff between us. Okay, so we start with scenes from previous episodes, and we have the scene with Mauricio and Kyle from earlier in the season, where Kyle, Mauricio's like, "Hello, Kyle Loveen," and Kyle's like, "Oh my God, we're joking because there's so many photos of you making out with women on the streets of Beverly Hills." And we see one of the photos where it looks like Mauricio's grabbing a lady by the butt cheeks and pulling her up. And he's like, "Ha ha ha, yeah, my daughter just told me I'm going through a hoe phase, a hoe stage." I mean, Mauricio makes divorce look fun, right? It makes separation and divorce look fun. It's actually not a lot of fun at all. But Mauricio makes you think like it's pretty fun. It's like a chill experience. Mauricio thinks like it can be fun. Kyle's calling him out on being a hoe. He's like, "I guess you're right. I love women's buttocks, right?" And then we had a scene with Bose talking to Rachel Zoe about her husband, or her husband she separated from, Roger, making out with somebody as well. If you get separated or divorced in Beverly Hills, you are required by law to make out with women on the streets for paparazzi cameras, right? And then Dorit in a scene saying that PK is torturing her, and Jen Tilly asking Amanda Frances what she thought of Dorit, and Amanda Frances saying, "I wonder if her talking to everybody about her divorce with PK and PK being an alcoholic, is that going to end up affecting their divorce in a negative way," right? Which is, listen, at the end of the day, that's not a crazy thing to worry about. But that is true. And I also want to say it's also true that Amanda Frances comes off like a big kook. And production knows she comes off like a big kook. And it gives all of these ladies somebody to pick on. Do I feel sad she comes off as a big kook? Yeah. It does make me feel better knowing that she's rich, because I'm like, she comes off as a big kook, but she's rich. That's, that seems like a fair bargain. But she's a kook. She comes off like a kook, and she comes off like a kooky asshole sometimes. She comes off like a real dick. So she can be right about things in this show, but there's also this other thing, which is so bad that all of the other ladies notice it just like we do at home, right? And then last week, obviously, was the episode where, her son passed away at birth, like 5 days after birth, and she came to this dinner at Rachel Zoe's house, and Dorit's calling Amanda Frances out, and Amanda's like, I'm having the conversation, and then she's like, "You know what? To be honest with you, is that my son died 3 years ago today, and I'm holding on by a thread." And instead of stopping right there, Dorit was like, "I'm so sorry. But anyways, where I was going with that was," she kept going. And also just Kathy Hilton having that iconic moment of like, Your dog died." "No, my son." "Oh, your dog's son." So none of these ladies knew that the anniversary of her child's death was today. So they were all shocked, and Dorit came to apologize and try to wipe away a tear from Amanda's face. And Amanda was like, please don't touch me right now. Don't touch me right now, please. Don't touch me right now, please. So those are like kind of the storylines we're dealing with in this episode. We open up in beautiful Beverly Hills. We're on Rodeo Drive, it looks like. We see Chanel. We see all those hoity-toity stores. And then we wind up in a place that's not hoity-toity. That's Erica Jane's house. Erica Jane.
Yeah, I've got a shitty old pool house. Yeah.
And Erica Jane is being real. She's peeling her own banana. Back in the day, when she first started off the show, she had banana peelers for her. A full-time banana peeler. Rachel Zoe is dropped off, comes into... I love that they do slow-mo shots of Rachel Zoe going into Erica Jane's condo. No, it's actually a nice house, but it's a lesser house than the other ladies, right? And Rachel's like, it is so beautiful in here, Erica. Like, they just all, just point-blank lie, which I think that is women supporting women, in a sense. They both tell each other they look great. You know the deal, right? Rachel Zoe lets us know that she's not good at weekend dressing, right? She has trouble dressing for the weekends. And Erica Jane's like,
I can only do costumes or sweats. Sweats or costumes.
I think we all kind of if I'm around the house, which I am most of the time, I just wear a t-shirt and basketball shorts. And in fact, Rebecca, if you listen to the Southern Charm recap on Saturday, Rebecca makes fun of how I dress. But Rachel Zoe goes, I love Erica Jane's energy. I gravitate towards people that have things in them that I don't. She has a fearlessness about her, and I just love that she is fucking real. She keeps it fucking real. I don't know, man. I don't know. These shows make you think about people and the nature of people. And I'll never really kind of be able to escape the Erica Jane Tom Girardi of it all. I don't think Erica Jane was just some waif, some naive waif, some rube, and I don't think that makes her some waste of space or less of a person. But it is funny when it's really, I don't know. It takes so little for people to be impressed by others, if that makes sense. I don't know. But Rachel wants to talk about last night, about the Amanda Francis of it all. And Erica's like,
I feel terrible. And I don't know what Dorit's going to do with Amanda.
What do you mean what Dorit's going to do with Amanda? Just keep apologizing. My God. And Rachel's like, yeah, Dorit came at her with what the fuck are you talking shit about me and my husband? And I was like, is Amanda just going to own this right now? And be like, yes, I fucking said this? Which, by the way, who the fuck cares? If Amanda said, I'm worried that she's talking about her ex-husband being an alcoholic might affect her divorce, I don't think that's that bad of a thing. But Rachel's like, and then she says it's the anniversary of her twin son's death. And literally, I was like, I went dark. I went dark. And Erica says, Amanda has given us lots of information about her business and her accolades, but nothing this personal. Which Erica has a point. When you meet people, you need to immediately give them the dates that your loved ones have passed. And make sure they write them down, because you don't want to be in a situation like this, folks. And Rachel's like, can I just say something? Does it bother you when you're in a very tight space with someone and someone is very loud on a call? And Erica's like,
yes, it's annoying, girl.
And we flash back to 1 week earlier in Sedona. Remember, Amanda Francis was next to both of them and she was on speakerphone, which, yes, we can all agree, that's annoying as F. Truly annoying. And Amanda, I think, was just trying to show off, but it's still you think you're going to impress Rachel Zoe? Rachel Zoe is probably on the phone more than Amanda Francis is in any given day. So anyways, we see that whole flashback of every conversation that Amanda had. And Rachel's like, that was loud as fuck.
It feels performative. It did.
You would know what performative feels like, Erica. But yeah, it is performative. Rachel says everything with Amanda kind of feels like, I want you to see this. I want you to hear this. I want everyone in this car to hear me on this phone. And yes, that's probably how she built her business. I mean, that is why Amanda is referred to, not by everybody, by some people, a grifter. Grifters don't usually they don't usually rely on their on like God-given talent or actually something that can be useful. Grifters prey on people. That's why they call it a grift, you know? So Rachel's like, she calls herself a money queen. That's the name of her business. And she says, I'm someone who, while I think people perceive me as being over the top, I am extremely quiet about my work, Rachel says, and my business and my accomplishments, or whatever I've achieved in my life. I mean, yeah, I think Rachel's somebody that her work actually does speak for her. She actually does something of service where she's not asking. I mean, she does have a lot of products and things like that you can buy, but her celebrity styling services, she's not asking us to buy those from her. But Rachel says she feels very airline attendant from the 60s, which actually that's hysterical. But she's like a Pan Am flight attendant with the like, okay, so how should I respond to this? What should my reaction be to this? I would go so far as to be actually not even a flight attendant, somebody that works at an airline front desk. So we get out of that scene. But by the way, that's why Rachel Zoe works. She brings like specificity. She brings like examples that are hysterical that not a lot of other people would think of. Now, Kyle's walking down the street. I love they're really overdoing these ladies slow-mo walking into every scene. I feel like I'm watching the Terminator every time. It's crazy. So Amanda Francis is meeting up with Kyle at this Canyon Creative Studio to look at furniture because Amanda Francis is redoing the theater room at Kyle's old house. And she's like one of those people like, I don't want theater chairs. I want giant love sacks everywhere. And Kyle's like, how are you doing since the party? She's like, I am a shell of my former self. You could just say not good. Yeah. But she says Rachel's party took a toll on her. And she says she woke up every 30 minutes all night long with her heart pounding. And she says, that says to me, my body experienced that interaction like a physiological threat. Okay, girl. Couldn't sleep, she said. She says she doesn't have emotional breakdowns, truly ever, Kyle. And she says, I am a pretty grounded person. I do keep my wits about me, so thank you. Amanda will take every opportunity to brag about herself, even when she's talking about the mental degradation that she went through, right? But Kyle's like, yeah, I keep my wits about me too, even if I get upset, but I thought you were very composed, Amanda. Amanda, the talking head, says Dorit was acting completely aggressive and there was an attack energy, which once again, I think even a money queen would realize every opportunity you get, look at the forum in which that opportunity is. If you are getting the opportunity of being in the Housewives, you've got to prepare yourself for that forum. And unfortunately, the rule of the Housewives, and it's really kind of progressed this way over the years, is that there's an attack energy. But she's like, this is not how classy women behave. Also, that's a fallacy too. The Housewives isn't about class. No. Money can't buy you class. But she said she expected from Dorit remorse at the very least, and she's heard crickets. So Dorit has not reached out to Amanda, but she says she disrespected me and she disrespected my son on the anniversary of his death. And that is shitty. And Kyle's like, no, I know. Kyle in this moment could actually, Kyle will agree with anybody. Any scene that Kyle's in, she will agree with the person she's in the scene with. Like at this moment, she could be like, I understand you feel that way, but I just want to say with Dorit, she could like try to help her friend, right? Kyle would be hysterically horrible on the Traitors. But Amanda goes, well, I told her. And Kyle's like, yeah, I do wish that you said that, and Amanda's like, those are words that she should stop anyone in their tracks, right? If she said that to anybody. It's crazy. But Amanda keeps going on like a dog with a bone with this Dorit thing. And Kyle in a talking head goes, I know Dorit didn't mean it that way. Kyle always telling the actual way she feels in a talking head and not in the scene cracks me up. But Amanda says, I will not go to dinner parties feeling emotionally unsafe. When do you feel emotionally safe on the Housewives if you're a housewife? And if you're feeling emotionally safe, you're not an actual housewife. And then Kyle Richards then throws a little barb at our friend Crystal Minkoff. She goes, I mean, it's giving Crystal Minkoff. And then we flash back to Crystal and her season going, the word violation actually means to abuse your privacy. And boundaries, a disrespect of boundaries, period. Google it. Crystal says, I think that's really unfair to compare Amanda Francis to Crystal. I think that's complete bullshit. And it's like a stray bullet that Kyle, focus, Kyle. But Amanda goes, I won't have my cortisol spike and my nervous system become dysregulated because she can't speak to me like an adult. Oh, dude, it's one and done for Amanda, I fear. Because I fear, her cortisol, this isn't good for her cortisol. It's not. Everybody's cortisol should be fucked up on these shows. It's like, there's Angel on Real Housewives of Potomac. And if you don't watch Potomac, this season actually was really good. But Angel is she wants to be a good housewife so bad, and she just can't seem to make it work. But you root for Angel in some weird way. I mean, she's wildly misplaced, but there is still this thing of you feel bad for her and you sort of root for her. Amanda just comes off like an asshole. And I hate to say that because there's a lot of assholes in Beverly Hills. But Kyle's like, you have your boundaries. Yeah. And even Kyle looks bored with this scene. And Amanda goes, I'm going to have to set a goddamn boundary, but that's okay. Yeah. Won't be the first time I've set a boundary in my life. I think Amanda thought she was serving in this scene of wow, I just showed Kyle there's a new sheriff in town. Okay, so now we're at this Mexican restaurant in Beverly Hills, and Bose is there with her friend Summer, and they've been friends for 34 years. She's from Oklahoma. Kyle and Dorit are in this scene as well. And Bose reminds us that she moved from Ghana of all places, to Colorado Springs. And she said she landed in a cold place that served hot dogs. So it was a bit of a culture shock. It's a weird episode when we see their entire order. Dorit's like, oh, how's the tortilla soup? We're literally watching each lady order where I'm like, okay, man, does everybody have their order in? Bose says, Dorit, you want to talk to Summer because Summer went through a divorce and her husband was able to get full custody while they went through the divorce, and it almost killed her. And Summer's like, yeah, I hear you and Kyle, Dorit, are both going through a really hard time. And Dorit says, Kyle's is very different because her and Mauricio are friends. And then she's like, Kyle, when you first saw pictures of Mauricio finger-banging ladies on the street, did you want to file for divorce? And Kyle's like, yeah, at first I did. But she says she's not just thinking of herself. She has to be thinking of everybody. And she said when she was in Aspen recently, she felt invisible. But then she came back to Beverly Hills and she's like, oh, I think I can deal with this. It's okay. In a talking head, Kyle says, we travel as a family sometimes. He has his room and I have my room, and I'll see him in the morning, having coffee. And she says, even though we're separated, I didn't feel very seen, even as a friend. And it's like, I want more than you. I don't want to be talking to a wall, and I don't want the person I'm talking to just looking down at their phone, which is a really, it's a weird thought, and it's relatable, and you feel bad, but at the same time, I think this is why they eventually do have to get divorced, is that it's unfair to both of them. It's unfair to Kyle and it's unfair to Mauricio because you have these expectations, but you are in this weird, there is a time where you're going to have to not be friendly, not be, it's like there's going to have to be at some point a breakaway. And I don't mean they have to hate each other. I don't mean they don't have to love each other. They built this amazing family, these businesses, all of this stuff. But just for Kyle to be able to fully move on. And I think obviously it's probably hard when, whatever relationship she had with Morgan Wade, if that is over, that makes it even harder. But you can't have this longing for somebody and then try to pass it off as oh, I realize we're just best friends, but I want more from my best friend. And Dorit says, can I ask you, friend to friend, in the back of your mind, when you saw those pictures of Mauricio making out, did that make you want to file? And Kyle was like, yeah. Yeah. Wait, sorry. Oh, no, we already did the file thing. But Dorit says, can I ask you, friend to friend, in the back of your mind, do you think maybe you're not filing because you think you can reconcile? And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, Mauricio pops up and he's like, hello, ladies. Hey, all right. I thought I recognized these ladies, right? So Mauricio is just like all of a sudden there at this Mexican restaurant. Now, on Watch What Happens Live, Kyle told Andy that, like, actually, he was not supposed to be in this scene at all. Mauricio genuinely was just walking the streets of Beverly Hills and bumped into the Beverly Hills crew, and they know him, and so they were like, go in this scene. They slapped a mic on him and sent him inside. I love Mauricio. Mauricio's like, I was just walking around the streets of Beverly Hills. I'm in between making out with people for paparazzi photos. I can't believe I bumped into you guys. Of course, Mauricio is just stumbling around the streets of Beverly Hills, right? So he pops up, and all the ladies are shocked. And Kyle's like, what? I mean, they probably all think it's a setup. And Mauricio's like, how are you, Dorita? And he does that whole charming Mauricio thing, like kissing. And Dorita's like, we were just talking about you. Literally just talking about you. And Kyle's like, have you met Bose, Mauricio? And he's like, no, I don't think we've ever met, huh? And Bose has met Mauricio or seen Mauricio before, right? So Mauricio goes around and greets every lady with like kisses on the cheeks. He goes, I was just had a meeting with my new Saudi partner, Saudi Arabia, right? Of course you're meeting with your new Saudi partner. He goes, we're opening up the agency in Saudi, huh? And Dorit's like, are we being pranked? This is insane. And Kyle's like, are you fucking kidding me? He goes, and she says, what does he have me on Find My? Because, by the way, I bet he does have Kyle on Find My iPhone app, right? Because, like, this town is too small for both of us. And now Mauricio sits down and Dorit's like, I was asking Kyle, basically, have you thought about filing? And Mauricio goes, no. And Kyle goes, I've never asked him. How have you never had that conversation, even joking? And then Mauricio turns to Kyle. He's like, have you ever thought about filing, Love Bean? Right? And Kyle's like, you made me mad a couple of times. Like, we shouldn't be cutesy joking about divorce filing. Or maybe this is the new normal. Who knows? And Mauricio goes, I should have just kept walking, right? Saudi Arabia, huh? And Bose is like, now you're in the hot seat. And Mauricio, this charming MFer, he's just like, I don't have a care in the world. I'm Mauricio, right? And Bose is like, it's great to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet you, Bose. And then Bose goes, I almost attacked you last summer. And Mauricio's like, come again? Come? What? Huh? What does that mean? And Bose says, I saw you at Soho House in Malibu. And Kyle's like, I was getting a play-by-play of everything you were doing. And we flash back to 2024 when Bo says, I saw Mo with a girl, right? And Kathy Hilton goes, a female. I love Kathy Hilton goes, a dog? No, a female. But Bose goes, Mauricio, I was watching you like a hawk. And Mauricio looks a little scared at this point. And he goes, who was I with? Do you know who I was with? Huh? Do you know? And Kyle goes, with the girl. And Mauricio goes, you could have said hi, by the way. I like threesomes. He didn't say the threesomes part, but Mauricio doesn't seem that chicken. He goes like, you could have said hi, by the way, right? I don't bite. And Dorit says, it's called a girl's girl, Mo. But Bo says, I chose a side. And Mauricio goes, oh, you're a spy. But Mauricio's just like, love it. He's like, oh, it's great. It's great. No, for real. You're spies. I love it, right? I know what I'm walking into with you girls. I love it. And then he turns to Dorit and he goes, I haven't seen you forever, Dorit. So long. And then Dorit goes, my God, Mo, let's get together. Naked. No, she just says, let's get together. And she's like, I want to get together, Mo, and chit chat. I'd be thrilled to anytime you want, huh? And Dorit's like, well, I hear his side, so I think you should hear the other side. And Mauricio goes, I would be thrilled to. Would you be thrilled to, Mauricio? Kyle's listening to this whole thing, this whole conversation. And Dorit's like, the thing is, Mo, I want what's best for the kids, little Jagaloo and Phoenix. And the only way for our kids, she says, not to have as much damage is for us to be friendly. And Mauricio's like, I totally agree with that statement, I mean, he's just like Kyle. Just agree. I totally agree with anything you're about to tell me, Dorit, right? And I can tell you that if you wanted to, I would be willing to sit down with you and completely listen to you without any response. And Dorit's like, after you've heard what I have to say, if you feel like there's things that you want to say to PK, say them from your heart. Wow. So now it's like Mauricio's the middleman. Mauricio's like, I'm never walking around in Beverly Hills again. Dorit in the Talking Head says, at this point, I've exhausted every possible avenue to try and sit down with PK and communicate. And I know that we have reached a place where it's really necessary that him and I have some kind of communication in order to co-parent efficiently. And Dorit's like, Mo is literally my only hope. She's like Princess Leia in Star Wars. Luke Skywalker, you're our only hope. Or no, was it Obi Kenobi? Obi Kenobi. But Mauricio's like, I'm happy to do it, right? And then Dorit goes, you know what, Mo? I don't have your number. So there, all the Bravo fan base that thought these two had been fucking for a while, Dorit doesn't even have his number. And she goes, and I'm going to get it. And Kyle's like, you should get that number. And so Mauricio whips out the phone and Dorit's like, and I'm going to message you at will. And he's like, you should. Yes, of course. Right. Oh, man, I would love to see their text exchange. And then Bose in a Talking Head goes, Mo has got it. I understand. He's got the charm. He's got the good looks. So I don't really blame Kyle for hanging on. But why is she not reeling him in? So I love Bose is even like understanding the power of Mauricio. She can't even be on Kyle's side anymore. She's like, that man has got it all. And so then Bose is like, Mauricio's gone. And Bose is like, we got to talk about this dinner the other night with Amanda Francis, right? And Kyle's like, everything was great until Dorit here. And Dorit's like, yeah, she says, Sutton told me that Amanda, she's voiced her concern about you speaking up about PK. And Dorit says, I have the right to obviously confront and ask if you got this opinion, where did this come from? And she shut down the conversation and said it was the anniversary of her son's passing. And Bose's friend is like, oh my God. Oh my, are you? Oh, and she puts her hand on her heart. And Dorit's like, exactly, right. And Dorit's like, I had no idea that was the anniversary. Yeah, we know, Dorit. We know. And Dorit says, if I had known, I would have never said anything to her. And Dorit says, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to check in and just want to make sure that it's, not an anniversary of something bad or anything. Maybe that's what you do at this point. But Bo says, after you said, I'm sorry, did you go back to the conversation? And Dorit's like, yes, woohoo. And Bose goes, and why did you do that? And Dorit goes, because we were in the middle of a conversation. And she was also continuing the conversation. And we flash back to that scene of Amanda. I would do the same thing if I was Amanda. It's like you're trying to keep in the scene, but your mind is not there. But Dorit's like, it wasn't like the conversation had finished then. So and Kyle's like, I saw her today, Dorit. We actually had a very long conversation about this. And she said you fucked up her cortisol. But Kyle says she asked me to not say anything to you, but she wants to have this conversation with you on her own. And Bose is like, you got to follow up, Dorit. And Dorit's like, I fully plan to. Woo. And Bo says, look, I've lost a baby too. And Dorit's like, anywho. But Dorit says, I know. But Bo says, I know that pain. There's a very stark difference between being like, hey, I want to share this with you because this is what I'm feeling, than like somebody trying to address something with you and then you throw it out. Because look, I can get into any kind of conversation, be like, my husband died, my baby died. I could do that all day long, but I don't do that. Bo says that kind of grief marks you in ways that you can't really articulate. So for Amanda to talk about it in this way at this time, it feels like she's throwing it up as defense. It's like she guards information and then uses it as currency. So I think Bose is saying she's weaponizing this, right? Which I don't know. I think Amanda's just an asshole. She seems like she weaponizes everything that she says. But Bose says she finds it disturbing that would be thrown up as defense. So Bose is just saying it sounds like Amanda's being a wackadoo. And then Dorit says, well, anyway, she told me she wrote this book at one of the lunches. And so I went looking up the book and I see this blog that says I was in a cult. And I was like, what? What? And Kyle's like, she was in a cult? And Bo's like, homegirl was in a cult? And Dorit says, in a cult. And then Dorit in a talking head reads, 8 years ago today, I took one of the biggest leaps of my life. I ran away from an incredibly abusive, controlling, and isolated environment 1,166 miles from home. I was in a cult. So this is an Amanda Francis blog from October 31st, 2015. It pops up on screen. I love that Dorit's deep diving. This is like Todd from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City discovering Reddit for the first time. Dorit's like, I'm just surfing the web, the World Wide Web. But Dorit's like, I would have never thought this girl was in a cult. I actually would. That doesn't shock me at all. But everybody's like, what? She's in a cult? She wrote that she was in a cult? And Dorit goes, she was in a cult for 2 years. And Boza goes, I never even looked at the website. And Bose is laughing in a talking head. She goes, a cult? I mean, who is this woman? How did she get in here? How did she get out of here? Or maybe she's still in there. And Bose says, there's so much unknown about Amanda Francis, and it feels like the picture-perfect presence is breaking apart. And so maybe now we'll get to know the real version of Amanda Francis. I mean, yes. I mean, it's great. I mean, it provides a little bit of a story there, but I mean, I'm sorry. You could throw a penny at any of these ladies and you're going to uncover something weird and freaky. And like, I'm sorry. Like you could throw a stone in Los Angeles and you'll hit somebody that's been in a cult 9 times out of 10. So I mean, it's fun. And do we really think Dorit found this article? Or do we think production found this article? Like, I want to know the reality of this reality. So now we're at Rachel Zoe's house and they make it look like the hotel from The Shining. It's like, dong, and it's like Rachel Zoe's staircase. And it's just like blue balloons by those pop art paintings of her kids. And then it's like hovering over the Rachel Zoe's jewelry and it says Rachel Zoe. Like it's all the branding. And then Rachel Zoe in like a fully stylized outfit with sunglasses inside her house and a huge Starbucks cup of coffee. She's like, D, what the actual fuck? I didn't know anything about this. And Dana, Rachel's assistant, is like, no one did. And Rachel's like, it's like everywhere. Like it's everywhere. And we see a Page 6 headline, Rachel Zoe files for divorce from longtime husband Roger Berman. It has hit the presses, folks. Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. That's the date we're dealing with. And Rachel in a talking head goes, okay, so, I filed for divorce this morning. Yeah, just typical day. And she says, I mean, it's not one thing. It's an absolute myriad of bad decisions that have been made over the last month, the last week, the last fucking hour that would trigger me to move things forward. And then we flash back to 2 days earlier where Rachel is telling Erica, so you know that my ex has this girlfriend, right? And Erica goes, no, she's never met the kids. My kids are leaving, about to get on a plane to camp. And literally, she fucking appears. And Erica goes,
what, is she there to send the kids off to camp?
She's there with him and shows up and says hi to my sons. What the fuck? And she tells her assistant, I actually thought the whole mediation is so that this is not like a huge, loud public thing. Thank God the kids are at camp. I mean, can you imagine if the boys weren't in camp? And the assistant's like, yeah, good thing they're off social media. And her assistant's like, the girls are on the line. We're looking at the details. We're on a phone with Taylor and Mary from Rachel Zoe Inc. Business Development. So all hands on deck. I love these girls are like, hi, Rachel. And they're like, new day, new headline. And Rachel's like, TMZ, Daily Mail, like, what the fuck? It's everywhere, you guys. She says, I do not have a prenup with my ex. Ugh. And she says she doesn't want to give spousal support and she doesn't want to get spousal support. I feel that this is a new beginning, Rachel says. And if we were separating and living separate lives, with separate people, I don't see why I should be paying for that or he should be paying for mine. I wonder how they have split the business up because Roger was like, wasn't he like the head of her business? I mean, so how? But Rachel's like, this is so insane. And I'm trying to think, am I doing any events or red carpets that I'm going to get like, and they say, you don't have any events this week. And Rachel's like, maybe it's a slow news day and nobody really gives a shit, right? Let's hope for a slow news day, folks. I don't even really remember. I mean, I'm trying to think of where I was in July, probably my head up my ass, but Rachel gets off the phone. She's like, never a dull moment, honestly, right? Honestly. So we get out of that scene and then we head over to, where are we? We're in Bel Air and where we see lemon trees and a bunch of kids' toys out on a tennis court. And we are over at Amanda Francis's, which is actual Kyle and Mauricio's old home, right? And she's playing with her kids, Kanan and Delia, and Kyle is walking up to her old house. And Amanda says, Kyle and Mo are coming over today, and I get to show them their old house. I get to show them how I destroyed their old house with my cool designs, right? And Amanda goes, I kind of hope they like it. I mean, I think we did it justice. But also, I don't care because I know we did a good job. I don't care about what anybody thinks. God, I always feel so bad when people come off like monsters on these shows because you know they can't be monsters. But you're like, how do you manage to come off like a monster when you're on a show full of monsters? What? Kyle tells Amanda she's got to leave later to go get 2 birthday cakes, one for Erica Jane and one for Dorit because they're both their birthdays, I guess, are right now. So she wants to celebrate both of their birthdays. And she says she's trying to be a better friend to Dorit. And then Kyle's like, are you feeling better about the situation? And Amanda's like, no. And honestly, very conflicted. I had no idea that the next time I would see her would be her birthday dinner. And Kyle's like, well, I had dinner with her last night. She also wants to have a conversation. So just take it from there. And then Mo walks in just looking really cool, about to charm the pants off Amanda Francis. Hello, love beans. All right. It's my old place. Welcome to your former home, He's like, thank you for having me in your home, right? You always invite vampires in. And then he gives, Kyle the hug and kiss, and then meets Eddie, her husband. Hey, buddy, how you doing? All right, pleasure to see you, right? Great. Are you doing good, pal? It's been a while since I seen you guys, so I think since you bought the house, right? This is exciting, huh? He is such a real estate agent. Hey, this is great. This is real nice. Let's do it. Let's see this. And so they're going through the house that they've lived in, raised their daughters in. And so they're in the kitchen, and Maurice's like, this is a huge transformation. Wow. This looks great. The black and the white, it looks amazing. The backsplash. Wow. And Kyle's like, this used to be a desk that Portia used to sit here and like color. And I had this vision of her like helping me. And we flash back to a scene of Portia doing this. This is Portia. She's, we're inviting you to my birthday party. It's very cute. We watched Portia grow up on this show. And they go into, I think, this office or the bar area, and Marisha's like, this looks beautiful. The green looks great. And that backsplash looks amazing in the bar. Wow. And Kyle's like, we had so many parties, like all these visions coming from my head, right? So many parties. And then we do a flashback, one of them where like Lisa Vanderpump from 2012 is like bringing a llama through, like, let's get this party started. All right, Nicolene. Oh. And then, it was when they did the petting zoo in their backyard, and then one of their white parties in 2011, and they're jumping in the pool together. I mean, it's very sweet. And we grew up watching them as a couple, right? And so we're seeing all of these memories that are probably going through Kyle's mind. And then they go up to see one of the kids' rooms, and Maurice's like, look how fun this is, right? A bunk bed, huh? Great. And Kyle's like, Portia wrote her name on the wall. And do you remember how Portia only wanted to play in the closet? She was obsessed with this little space. That little space is bigger than one of our bedrooms. It's very cute. But Kyle says these memories are starting to hit her like a truck. And Mauricio doesn't seem like these memories are hitting him like a truck. He's just like, I love houses, right? Real estate. It's great, great, great. But Kyle's being very complimentary. And Kyle says, when we first bought the house is when Mo started to really make a lot more money. And we see in 2012 that when he bought her a Porsche, I think, remember? And it was just, or was this a Ferrari or a Porsche? But Kyle's like, we were looking for a bigger, better home. Bigger is not always better, Kyle says. And I think that, to me, that's where I started. This is the thesis statement of this series, I believe. Bigger is not always better. And that's what I was talking about at the very beginning of this recap, is that bigger is not always better. Remember that. I've got to make myself remember that. All of these things that we're told that we should strive for and want, at the end of the day, it doesn't mean a lot. But my God, it would look cool for me to be in a Porsche. No, but you know what? Like, it just doesn't mean a lot. It can actually detract from your actual life. And I think that's, for this show, I also want to, bigger is not always better. Let's go smaller. Let's just focus on relationships and stories and not, I don't know. And I know most people don't watch these shows the way I do, but that's sometimes what I want, is that we don't need to do bigger and glamour. It's like there's a place for everything, but like we just need the foundation. And I feel we've fallen off of that foundation. But Amanda's like, anyways, thank you for coming and seeing it. I was excited to show you. And great, but Amanda's like, it must, this was a house for a lot of your important phases of life. Now get the fuck out. It's ours now. So Amanda and Eddie leave them, and Kyle is sitting on the chair as Mauricio goes getting drinks with Eddie, and Kyle's starting to tear up a little bit. And she says, when I look at my life now and where I'm at, it's extremely different. I can't help but think of how things used to be. And there's like this very leading music of like, oh, and Kyle says, and why would anyone let that slip away? Oof. Now this actually means something. And she goes, how could anyone let that slip away? And then Mauricio comes in, what's up, right? What's up? What's up, love bean, huh? What's going on? And Kyle says, I'm so embarrassed in front of them. And Mauricio's like, what happened? And she goes, I'm embarrassed in front of them. I don't know why this was not easy for me to see the house. And Mauricio goes, really? Like, even, really? Sucks. I'm sorry. And he goes, too many memories? Huh? And Kyle's crying, and she's just like, yeah. It just made me feel sad. And he goes, why sad? Mauricio, I know Mauricio knows exactly why she's sad, but he's like, why? I have no clue. What's going on? Mauricio's like, are you on your period? What's going on, Kyle? Huh? But Kyle says it's a simpler time, in our lives. And Mauricio takes a big chug of water. He has a glass of water. He's like, and Kyle's like, and the girls were younger. And Mauricio's like, and now one's getting married and the other one is like almost in college. Time flies. It flies, right? Life passes. And he wipes a tear off. I wish Kyle would do Amanda Francis of like, don't touch me right now, Mauricio. But Kyle says, I don't know. And sometimes I just think, what would have happened if we didn't leave here? I don't know. And Mauricio's like, if I just didn't take you that morning to that other house. And he smiles in this kind of weird way. And Kyle's just like, yeah. Kyle and I talking, he goes, maybe we wouldn't be separated if we had stayed in that house. I don't know. But of course, I think like that because my last memory in this house is of us being happy. Oof. Men and women are so different. I know I don't need to tell you that, but it's interesting, right? Or it's very sad, or it makes you angry or something. But I think life is full of those sliding door moments. Like, what if I had done this? What if I hadn't done this? I mean, Rebecca and I were talking like 5 years ago. I didn't know her yet, or I was about to and I was just thinking how different my life is. How utterly different my life is from from 5 years ago, or from when I even started this show. I mean, my life is completely different, and I want, if I could freeze frame my life right now, it is so far from perfect, but my God, I think I'm so lucky, and I know my life is going to completely change with our baby, but I'm already I've already factored that in. Like, that's something I'm like, wow, what a dream come true. I never could have predicted this 5 years ago. I truly never thought I would be able to have a child. I know I'm not physically carrying the child, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I never thought that. And life just takes you into so many different directions, and some are so joyous and happy, and some can make you miserable, and it can take you under for so long. And the best that we can hope for is just to get through it. And I hope that for Kyle, but I just don't know if she's going to get through it with Mauricio by her side. And I'm not trying to be cruel to Mauricio. I actually think Mauricio wants Kyle to move on. Yeah. So now we have some of the ladies round robining, getting ready for the birthday dinner for Erica and Dorit. And there's one with Jennifer Tilly FaceTiming Sutton. And Jennifer Tilly's like, I was thinking about Amanda Francis, freaking out on Dorit. And what do you always say, Sutton? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. And so it's like, what are you talking about? The road to heaven. Why would you pave the road to hell? Why would you pave a road to hell, Jennifer Tilly? Why would you pave a road to hell? In fact, I think you would probably doubly pave the road to hell, because Satan, Satan wants to lure you in. So Satan's going to really make that road to hell look, I think he's going to like triple. He's going to make it marble or some shit. But it's like a funny little thing. And then we see all the ladies walking into the restaurant, and Kyle's like, you look great, Erica. You look skinny. You look skinny. Rachel Zoe walks in. I mean, Rachel Zoe looks like a superhero to me. She's always like perfectly styled. She has like this white fur coat and all white outfit. And she's kind of like, has her sunglasses. I mean, I would love to know how many pairs of sunglasses Rachel Zoe has. Bose is there, says she misses Erica. Her friend Summer is with her again. And that's got to be fun for Summer. You go to high school with Bose so many years ago, and now you're going to be on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills for an episode. And Rachel Zoe looks at Erica and say, "You are giving a full '80s Aliyah moment right now." And Erica's like,
"Yeah," I said, "Why not? Yeah."
And Kyle's like, "Oh my God, Erica, we had dinner last night, and who walks in? Mo. And Erica's like,
hell no, that's impossible.
And then Amanda Francis walks in by herself. So she walks in, and so Dorit is not there yet. Now, remember, we do have information that they usually stagger these entrances, and there's usually call times. So when we think people are being late, they're not usually late. It's just like they're call times, or they're being held, like don't walk in yet. These things happen a lot, right? And so Amanda's saying hi to everybody. Amanda's not taking off her sunglasses inside yet. And Erica's like,
are you feeling okay, Amanda?
And Amanda says, yeah, I've had time to process. Oh, you're not going to tell her about your cortisol levels like you did Kyle? And Bo says, hi, Amanda. This is my friend Amanda. And then Rachel Zoe's friend Natalie, remember Natalie, who we met last week, who divorced Simon Fuller, the creator of American Idol. And she walks in with this Machino blow dryer bag purse that's $955. It's actually like a pink blow dryer. We've gone too far with fashion, but it seems fun. Jennifer Tilly walks in by herself. She comes in all smiley. Hi, it's me, Jennifer Tilly. Wait, so we're missing Sutton and Dorit still then. Sutton and Dorit. Okay. Kyle is sharing with the ladies that she was pretty broken up after seeing her house. And Amanda's like, it's okay not to be okay all the time, right? It's okay. And Kyle's explaining to Rachel Zoe, like, yeah, we sold the house in 2017, but we leased it out, and then we officially sold it to Amanda in 2021. And Amanda's like, I sold it to them in 2021. And Amanda goes, it was my money. I should be clear. When I bought it. I mean, we've renovated it together, but I did buy it. And Rachel in a talking head goes, why? Why would you share that? I just don't think it's necessary. That doesn't add value to the conversation. You know? I mean, she's totally right. It's so fucking disgusting. I bought it with my money. I'm sure her husband doesn't give a rip, but why do you? And I will say, to Rachel's credit, when we just talked about her divorce scene, it wasn't we talked about spousal support, but we didn't talk about this motherfucker didn't have a penny to rub together. We didn't hear that from Rachel, but we always hear about money from Amanda. Sutton comes in, Kathy Hilton comes in, and then all of a sudden, dramatic music as Dorit walks in slow-mo. It's so, they're really trying to make a mountain out of this. And Kyle's like, are you nervous, Amanda? Amanda goes, no, I'm actually not. I feel kind of empowered. And Kyle's like, okay, cool. Great. Amanda would be great. Like, I've got gas right now. And then Kyle's like, I see Dorit. Dorit's coming. It's taking her a long time because they're shooting her in slow motion. And so Dorit's like, hi, babies. Hi. And then Amanda goes, what time are we supposed to be here? And Kyle goes, because Amanda's trying to make a joke that Dorit's late. And then we cut to our last commercial of the episode. Thank God. This has really just flown by. And Rachel says to Dorit, like, listen, I wasn't hiding it. My heart has been divorced for so long, because Dorit asked her about her divorce announcement. And Rachel says, there is not a cell of my being that would ever consider being back with him. And Dorit's like, why do you think you didn't file like earlier? Dorit's really like collecting information about people filing for divorce. She's like doing the detective work. And I feel like we will lead to a storyline of Dorit officially filing from PK. I feel like that's what this leads to. But Rachel says, I'll be very honest with you, Dorit. I have spent the last year dealing with the logistics of my new life. And this is just a detail in the process of moving forward, right? And Dorit's like, you're okay. And Rachel's like, I'm great. I'm fucking great. In a talking head, Rachel says, at the end of the day, I can't change somebody else. I can't make them be who they don't want to be. And ultimately, he didn't want to be the person that I was with for the first 25 fucking years of our relationship. But I still grieve a relationship that was more than half of my life. Oof. And she goes, it's just sad. I really fucking take Rachel seriously. I love Rachel Zoe. She says, there's not a cell of my being that respects, misses. I miss the old him. I miss the him from long ago. And Dorit's like, oh my God, I know exactly what you mean. When PK didn't look like a giant stuffed baked potato, a bloated alcoholic. No. But Rachel's like, that person is no longer present in any way, shape, or form, and has not been for so long. So to me, this is like done. Like fucking enough. Basta. And Dorit in a talking head goes, I know Rachel's saying she's fine, and I think she is putting on a brave face. I mean, how can you not be destroyed by the fact that your husband, someone you've been with for 33 years, moves on like that? And Dorit says, in the blink of an eye. And Rachel's like, I don't care how much you love me. I don't care any of it, because you know what? It's all fucking bullshit. And then Rachel Zoe's friends talking to Dorit, and she's like, Erica, I just got back from Europe, and I had an experience that I always thought was like an urban myth. And Erica goes, what happened? Well, okay, so let's do enough for the table. They're ordering food, like sourdough bread, yellowtail. I don't know why we stopped to order this. I want to get back to this girl's stories. And she goes, we went to a spa and had the hottest masseuse. My friend Natalie had the hottest masseuse. And they had sex during the massage with a masseuse. And then she says, I did too. I did. Oh, wait. Oh, I just realized Natalie was referring to herself in the third person. I hate when people do that. She's like, Natalie had sex with the hottest she's Natalie. Natalie had sex with the hottest masseuse. And she's like, well, I didn't have sex, but like it got very intimate. And all the ladies are like, oh my God, did you have a happy ending? And she's like, I did. And Jennifer Tilly goes, I don't think I want to be the person on that table immediately after. Oh my God, slipping and sliding. And then Kathy Hilton goes, you know they're going to legalize this soon, I think, right? Bose goes, an axe murderer with a chainsaw could not have gotten that information out of me. Okay? I'd taken that to the grave. I know a couple people who have hooked up with massage therapists in my day. And then Erica Jane, hi. Don't leave me hanging, girl. Give me a high five. All right. Did you guys 69? Erica Jane goes, thank God she's wanting to have sex. I'm not the only one around here. Yeah, Erica Jane, always talking big about sex. We never even see her with a guy. Give me a break. And Erica goes,
That's the hottest experience ever.
so Dorit had been talking to Rachel. Dorit finally gets to the table. She's saying hi to the rest of the ladies. She's like talking to Bose. And then Dorit says, hello, Amanda. Hello. And Amanda just goes, hi. And Dorit keeps talking to the other ladies. And Amanda's just being just acting kind of like an ass. And Dorit finally sits down. And you could tell like Amanda's like pissy. She's like looking around the room. Amanda's going to the restroom, gets up, and Dorit is like watching her leave. And Dorit says, Jesus, it's like she can't even be around me. I'm going to be sitting right across from her the whole night. What, is she going to go to the bathroom to manifest my absence? I think she could have had a better line. That's it. Okay. And Dorit says, I haven't spoken to her since. And Son's like, well, I didn't think you were attacking. I really didn't. She's young. It's so funny when people, but Dorit says she's not really that young. She's not really that young. She's not old, but she's a grown woman, right? And then there's like tapping on the glass. And Kyle's like, I wanted to have all you guys together to celebrate both of their birthdays. A sit-down dinner, Dorit and Erica. It's important to celebrate any chance we can these days. And Dorit's like, that's really sweet, Kyle. Thank you. Yeah. Great speech. Dorit says, Kyle and I have been through a lot. We've been through ups and downs, but hearing her make this toast is really sweet. It feels like an olive branch of sorts. It wasn't even that great of a speech. No offense to Kyle, but it wasn't like, wow, what a speech, right? It'd be great if Mauricio was like, what's up, ladies? I was just in the area. Huh? So Amanda missed this whole toast, it looked like. So Amanda finally finally sits down, and then Dorit's like, Amanda, I'm glad to see you. Last time we saw each other, it wasn't very pleasant. It was a heavy night, and it was a heavy moment, and I'm glad to see you tonight. And Amanda's with chopsticks just like violently eating, like... And Dorit goes, and I think we should clear the air. And, we didn't particularly leave in a great place. And Amanda just keeps it with the chopsticks eating. And Amanda goes, well, would you like to go somewhere and speak about it? And Dorit goes, no, we don't have to go somewhere and speak about it. I just saying this to you now. I'd like to be able to have a conversation with you, but... And Amanda goes, but I need to be able to go to a dinner party without being verbally accosted. And Dorit goes, zoinks! And Dorit's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And Amanda's like, accosted. I'm pretty sure I used the right word. And Dorit's like, were you verbally accosted by me? Huh? And Amanda's looking on her phone, and Amanda goes, that is how I experienced it. And Bose goes, oh, now we've gone to the internet just to understand the definition. ChatGPT says, no. And Dorit's like just staring at Amanda, and Amanda's staring back at Dorit and her phone. And Erica's shaking her head. Rachel's head is in her hands, and it says, to be continued. No preview for next week. Folks, we've made it to Friday. Thank God. The end of the week. Come back tomorrow. Full Southern Charm recap. It's a really funny episode. I recorded it with Rebecca today. We have our baby shower on Saturday. I'm sure you're sick and tired of me talking about it, but I'll let you know how that goes. And then we'll have the Traders recap on Sunday. Man, it just never slows down. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and thanks for being here. Check out some of the other episodes. I'm really proud of those interviews I did earlier in the week, so I hope you enjoy them. Bye, guys.